Hello and welcome back for another historic video. Today we're going to be taking one last run with Scholar of the Lost Trove. This card was recently banned, but the ban update has not propagated through Arena yet. So we'll get in a couple matches before it disappears for good. Unlike Val and Kona, the Scholar is going to be banned, so there will be no more playing with this card. The premise of the deck is to use cards such as Otherworldly Gaze, Faithless Looting, and Glimpse the Unthinkable to get our reanimation targets into the graveyard, and then to bring them back with either Persist or Life Death. The targets are the Conspiracy Unraveler, which lets us collect the evidence 10 rather than pay the mana cost for spells we cast. And the other one is Scholar of the Lost Trove, which when it enters, we can cast an instant sorcery or artifact card from our graveyard without paying its mana cost. And then these cards are exiled instead of being put back into the graveyard. Then once we have one of these in play, the cards we're looking to bring back are Breach the Multiverse, which makes each player mill 10 cards, and then we get to choose a creature or planeswalker from both players' graveyard and put it onto the battlefield. This allows us usually to hit another Scholar or Conspiracy Unraveler and potentially continue the chain. Emergent Ultimatum is also one of our big hits. We're able to select 3 monocolored cards with different names from our deck, and then our opponent chooses one of those cards that gets shuffled back into our deck, and we get to cast the other 2 without paying its mana cost. So this can tutor up any of our big payoff cards, and pretty much there's no good choice for your opponent. Expropriate allows us to take an additional turn, so if we don't mill our opponents out with the multiverse, we're able to swing for lethal. Similar, Alrund's Epiphany lets us take an extra turn. Final Parting, searching for 2 cards, then we get to put one on our hand and one in our graveyard, usually selected with Emergent Ultimatum, and helps us get the correct cards in the correct zones so we can continue comboing. And then we also just have 2 copies of Glasspool Mimic, which we can use off the multiverse to continue to hit the Scholar of the Lost Trove. And then we have a multicolored mana base. All of the untapped dual lands, add any color, mana confluence, and starting town cards. Since we combo so quickly, we don't really care about the life loss. This deck is able to combo off as early as turn 2, which is one of the reasons why they have decided to ban the Scholar from the deck. And we're hoping to get some quick wins with it today. Before we jump into the gameplay, I'd like to ask you to please like and subscribe the video. It really helps the channel. And without further ado, let's jump into the games. This is a good opening hand. We'll keep. If we hit the right cards with our gaze, then we'll be able to combo off on turn 2. Otherwise, it's very likely to be a turn 3. Champion is fine. We actually don't want any of these cards. We'll mill ourselves. That was actually very bad. So we will not be able to combo off on turn 3. We hit 0 payoff cards. With 2 life deaths, we could try and take another turn. I guess that's what we'll do. Here we can use the Persist. We'll grab Scholar of the Lost Trove. And then we'll grab the Expropriate. We'll take time. Our opponent is likely to take time as well. If they take money, then we can steal their champion. They actually do take money. Right. On our extra turn, we will mill ourselves for 10 more. Now that should be game. No need to attack. Being alive to exile our creature. And a wayward servant. So here we will just persist our scholar. We'll grab the emergent ultimatum. Breach the multiverse. Yep, and our opponent concedes. So a bit of bad luck with the variance, but got the win nonetheless. Was never in any danger. This hand is fine. Hold up Otherworldly Gaze. Tap land from our opponent. The Unraveler. We will take the Persist here. We're not quite ready to combo off yet. We'll hold up the Flashback on Otherworldly Gaze. Search. Not the best cards here either. Do we have 10 cards in graveyard? No, we can't collect evidence. 10. We'll get rid of the land as well. And then I think since we're still nowhere near close to comboing off, we will use the more expensive one. And that should do it next turn, if our opponent does have any heat for us. And we're holding up another Gaze as well. One discard spell doesn't do it. Opponent shocks in. If we get another untapped land here, we can send our combo twice. We'll try Life Death first. On the Scholar. Our opponent counters. We'll play out our land and then use Persist, and this should be game over. Here we can use Breach. Let me just take a look at our graveyard, make sure we have cards to keep going. We have another Breach in here. So we'll take the Lost Trove. Opponent's graveyard, we'll take Liliana.
I am the master here.
Grab another Breach. You can see how stupid this combo is. I mean, like, our opponent had protection. They still couldn't do anything. Expropriate here should win the game. And our opponent concedes. This hand is a turn 2 win if our opponent doesn't have any interaction. Omen Hawker. Don't think I've ever seen that card in play before. We'll get rid of the Scholar and the Ultimatum. Otherworldly Gaze from our opponent. They like 2 of their cards. And a tap land. Tormod's Crypt. This will slow us down a bit. We'll make them use it. Next turn we can use the Glimpse to refill our graveyard. So our opponent will be able to continually cycle that Tormod's Crypt in and out of play as long as they find another artifact. Bad timing on this gaze. They weren't able to use it to surveil an artifact to their hand, and because of that, they're going to lose. So even through a piece of graveyard hate, we win on turn 4. This hand is good, has the opportunity to combo off on turn 3. Soul Warden could be the Val combo deck. I don't think they typically play planes though. Most likely just a Soul Sisters deck. Voice of Victory. Maybe it's energy. Here I think we still glimpse ourselves. We did not hit a Scholar, so here the Conspiracy Unraveler would be this pick. And we have enough cards to collect evidence for the breach in our hand.
Where shall we hunt today?
Alright, our opponent up to 25 life. They did not transform the Ajani. So we'll bring back the Unraveler. Then we'll play the Breach. We have to collect evidence 10. We do want to leave certain cards in our graveyard, so 4, 5, 8, 10. Scholar of the Lost Trove. And from our opponents, we'll take a Soul Warden. It doesn't really matter. Do another Breach. Glasspool Mimic. And from our opponent, we can take Voice of the Blessed, I suppose. It doesn't really matter. We plan to mill our opponent out here. Do another Breach. Scholar. And from our opponent, we'll do another Voice. We'll cast another Breach. This is our third one, so there's one left in the deck. Grab the Scholar again, and we'll take a third Voice. Take the Glimpse. And now we'll target our opponent. And then we'll use the one from hand, and this should mill them out. Pass the turn. We don't want to play Expropriate here. Good game. This hand doesn't have any way to get a card into our graveyard. Has to be a mulligan. This has the opposite problem. We do have the looting to dig for cards. Conspiracy Unraveler is the weaker of the two reanimate targets. I think we'll go down to 5. This is much better. We can put back both creatures. Then we just need Glimpse to hit something. Up against Eldrazi. Kozilek's Command is their only form of graveyard hate in the main deck. Keys is a good top deck. And we'll leave a Glimpse on top since that is likely what our opponent takes here. Redundant Persist Death cards means that's most likely not going to be the target unless our opponent has another Thought Knot in hand. Maybe they do. That was not the best Glimpse. Opponent mills over 1K command. I think we take a natural draw here. Final parting means that we should be able to combo off here. So grab the Unraveler. Our opponent could still command for 1, but they concede. Final parting, we'd be able to get an ultimatum and a multiverse, and then our opponent has no good choice. So there is the Persist combo. I know there's a couple different iterations of how this deck actually is constructed. Some of them use a haste creature to deal lethal combat damage, whereas this one is more geared toward mill. Most of the time, however, though, your opponent concedes on the spot as soon as you cast your Persist or Death, because they're both pretty deterministic in their wins, and they take a bit of time to click through, and people just don't want to sit through it. I can totally understand why Magic decided to ban a card from this deck, but I would be surprised to see if it's still able to function with only the Unraveler, or if there's another card that we can slot into the Scholar's slot. You know, a couple years ago, there was a similar deck that was running around that was using 4 mana reanimation spells and doing the same thing, which, to be fair, is still probably a fast enough combo deck to be consistent in Historic, but it does give your opponent more time to either win via aggro or disrupt what you're doing with counter spells or discard, so it won't be quite as strong as what this deck does. That being said, I've been calling for the Persist combo deck to be banned out of Historic for a while now, so I'm quite happy that Wizards made the decision to try and address the deck in the most recent bans. As always, I'd like to thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more content.